Welcome to stage 3 of the UBD template. Once again, my name is Annika Vorhes, and I'll be walking you through step by step how to complete the UBD template for stage 3. So stage 3 is to plan learning experiences. And to do that, we use the Where to Learning Plan. What teaching and learning experiences will equip students to engage with, develop, and demonstrate the desired understandings? So we're going to group each key teaching and learning activity with its appropriate where to location. So first, we're going to start with the SMART learning objectives: specific, measurable, attainable, results focused, and time focused. These learning objectives are really key to developing the activities because we want the learning objectives and the activities to line up together. So those activities or assignments that you create have to associate with a SMART learning objective. So you complete as many as absolutely necessary to meet your goals. So you may not use all 10, or you might. It's really up to you how many you need. You definitely need more than just a few, though. So let's move on to relevance. What are the benefits to students by completing this unit? How will they benefit from learning this material? So really think about what your students are getting out of this. Then go on to diagnosis. How will you know what they know before the lesson and what they know after the lesson? How will you test for misconceptions? So this is really key, a key part of learning. How do we know what we need to teach them as we begin the unit? And how do we know once we've completed it, what was missed or what was lacking or what needs to be explained more? So you need to consider how you're going to assess that information at the start and then again at the end so that you can make adjustments. It's not about having done anything wrong or being incorrect. It's about making sure that the learning that we want to happen is actually happening. And then we move on to hook and hold. How will you hook and hold your student interests? So this is really interesting because yes, we want to grab their attention. We want to make sure they're interested. More importantly, we want to make sure that they're engaged. So it could be with an interesting question to start with to engage them, a case study. There are many ways that you can hook and hold your students' attention. So how will you do that for this unit? And how will technology be used in the unit to hook your students and get them interested and engaged? You're going to be using technology in your unit, but how are you getting your students engaged using that technology? So now we're to E, experience and explore. How will students uncover the meaning of the unit? So while we may tell them certain things, how will they dig out the information? How will they learn it? Uh, in what ways are the activities building into that? So you want to explain that here in this section. Rethink, revise, and refine. So how will students have the opportunities to rethink, revise, and refine their work in the unit? So they may not get it right the first time. How are you going to give them the opportunity to continue working on that and really digging in and thinking about what they're doing and embedding that learning? Reflect and self-regulate. How will the students have time to improve their metacognition and self-regulation skills? So learning is this big process, right? And we want them to have time to consider where they started at the beginning and how their thoughts and perspective changed as they worked through whatever unit or activity you're designing here. So do you give them time to really look back? And formative feedback. How will students get formative feedback so they can improve their work and move toward mastering the learning objectives? Because learning is never really finished. How are they going to improve what they've done and know that this is a process rather than submitting something and it just being over and finished? And here is one of the more difficult ones to do. Tailored to differentiate learning. How will the unit be organized to allow for a technology-enhanced learning experience that uses differentiation, including adjusting content, processes, product, and learning environment based upon student readiness levels, learning styles, interests, and personal goals? Now, it doesn't mean that there are massive changes to how something happens, but how do you build in flexibility into the unit itself to make sure that all of your students are learning? You also need to make sure that it is organized toward learner-centered strategies. So how will the unit be organized to ensure your lesson is designed using a variety of learned-centered instructional strategies? You also want it to be organized to be authentic. So how would the unit be organized to engage your students in local and global interdisciplinary units in which technology will help students assume professional roles, research real-world problems, collaborate with others, and produce products that are meaningful and useful to a wide audience? Research has shown that students learn best when they have a real world situation in which they're learning. So how are you going to simulate a real world experience, create a real world experience, or design the unit in a way that gives them that real world experience that helps them ground their learning? You also want it to be organized to create for creativity, higher order skills, and mental habits of mind. So, how will your unit be organized to have a technology enhanced learning experience that emphasizes creativity, higher order thinking skills and processes, and mental habits of mind? Meaning critical thinking, metacognition, and self regulation. So, how to embed these things into your unit to ensure that students are really engaging with these higher order skills? You also need to organize your unit to assess student learning. How will your unit be organized? To continually assess students' learning and technology literacy by applying a rich variety of formative and summative assessments aligned with content and student technology standards. So, are you making sure that your students are set up to succeed in your unit, and how do you go about doing that? And finally, your unit needs to be organized to use technology to analyze data. So, how will your unit be organized to use technology tools and resources to systematically collect and analyze student achievement data, interpret results, and communicate findings to improve instructional practice and maximize student learning? So, when you take away this information, how are you going to share it with others to improve your discipline or your department's methods of teaching and approach to learning? Thank you for being a part of this workshop and completing stage 3. At the end of your template, you also see that there are other UBD resources available to you. Feel free to reach out to me at vorhes.2@right.edu with any questions that you have. Thank you again.